Thank you. It's great to be here. Since James gave me just 5 minutes, I will be very short, and we'll try to bring home 3 points that are of interest for all of us. The first one is the biggest impediment to growth for companies in New York. We're talking about growth companies. And this is access to capital. The Federal Bank of New York in May came out with a survey, and 50% of business owners in the region indicated that access to capital is the #1 issue. It's 10% higher than taxation, 10% higher than regulation, 30% higher than access to talent or technology. So we see a huge problem here that needs to be resolved. So that's the first point. What is the problem? The second one is why. Why we see such a huge problem with capital that is more than it used to be in the past. And I think that it's clear that after the 2008 crisis, bank credit that was usually available for smaller companies is no more available. We meet with many company owners, and we see that banks are providing money against personal wealth, against real estate. When it comes to provide capital for revenue, against quality revenue, this is becoming more and more difficult to obtain by companies. The other problem is really self-inflicting, because we think about availability of bank credit. This is one side of the picture. The other one is equity funding for mature companies. This section is all about mature companies, and we see many, many business owners that will say, I will not take equity funding to my company. And rightfully so. If you have 20 years of success and you're doing fine, why would you take additional partners? It's difficult, it's complicated, and you want to be your own boss. So combining these two issues, we met many, many business owners who are in a bind locally. And I think it's a significant explanation why we see slow growth all over the US right now. But specifically here, many successful manufacturing companies, software companies, service companies do not get the access to capital they need. And you think about growing a business, moving into acquiring a competitor, putting more equipment in your business, even retiring. We see many business owners who would like to retire, would like to provide some debt into their business to their management team so they can retire. They need the $5 million, they need $10 million, they cannot do that. So what is the solution? The third point. We started Halliday Financial Investment Banking here 8 months ago with the goal to address this issue locally. We focus on local companies to provide debt-only solutions. We stay away from equity. We address mature companies, and we connect institutional investors that work with us to provide funding to local companies. And I'm going to give you a small secret. In the last 2 years, Halliday Financial was responsible to $1 billion of capital raising for public companies. So that access to investors gives us a very, very good resource of capital available to us to provide funding for local companies. Not only that, we created our own fund in-house. We put our own money to work, and we will participate in transactions with our own capital to reflect the confidence we have in companies when we bring them to our investors. So the take-home point is that if you have the suitable company, we want to be in touch. We want to talk with you about what the solution can be done. What is a suitable company? We look for companies that have quality revenue stream, predictable revenue stream that can be looked as recurring and defensible from competition. If this is what you have, we will be delighted to talk with you about this. Thank you so much.